If you could pick just 3 exercises to make gains, um, I'm going to be honest, I really do not like this mentality. I have this sort of thing asked all the time. All the time. Even the other day in my community tab, when I was talking about people who have real questions versus trolling questions, I had someone ask a real question like that. And they're like, Jason, if you could take a group of lifters and only assign them 3 exercises and give them perfect programming to make gains for the rest of their life, to get big and strong, and you got to pick all their programming but nothing else other than they're limited to these 3 exercises, what would you pick? And my reply was, I would not waste my or their time doing that. Okay? People need to get out of this mindset. This is complete novice lifter mindset. Because what do we do to novice lifters? We assign them about 6 exercises on average, 5 to 6 exercises for their first few months in the gym, and we work on just progressing on those big basic movements. Okay, and it works very, very well because we usually pick exercises that build the most muscle, things like a barbell squat done to full depth, a bench press, an overhead press, rows, pull-ups, things like that, right? That work as many muscles as possible, and we just get them proficient on those exercises. They learn intramuscular coordination, they learn the movement patterns, and they just keep adding weight to the bar, and they get good gains. And this is one of the best ways to train people in their first few months in the gym. The problem, it would be impossible to maximize size, strength, or reduce injuries by doing this. It's not possible. Okay? It isn't. And I'm not saying you can't do some minimalist training and get away with it. I'm not saying I don't have friends who are coaches who do minimalist training for themselves. They only do 4 or 5 exercises. They also have a higher injury rate. Okay? They have a lot of connective tissue problems. And one of them listens to these videos. He knows who I'm talking about. It still works, but he's got issues. But he does like 20 sets of barbell squats a week. Okay, and he's not a 300-400 pound squatter either. So people who do these things, let me explain how this is going to work. Your mindset itself will stop you from achieving your results, because you can't say, I want to limit all these important variables. I want to limit myself, yet still maximize progress. In other words, I want to limit the number of tools that I have available while maximizing my progress. Okay? These are conflicts. If a person wants to make as many gains as possible, they want to get as jacked and as strong as possible while keeping overall fatigue within check, keeping overuse injuries low. They need to be willing to use any and every tool at their disposal. Look how many exercises I do in a single week. Okay? Look at what I do in a single week. I train 4 days a week, and let's not even count my restoration days. All right? Do as many as 15 different exercises in a week, and I don't even keep all those exercises in my rotation. I'm trying to maximize my posterior chain for squatting and deadlifting. What do I do for that? Well, besides the box squats and the speed pulls and the squat and deadlift variations, right? What do? I do good morning variations. I don't even have just a single type of good morning that I always do, right? I have more than one type of good morning. Glute ham raises. Okay, glute ham raises. Reverse hyperextensions. Right, I have 3 supplemental lifts for doing all that in addition to all my squatting and deadlifting, which are all variations. Used to do glute bridges, hip thrusts, all that stuff too. Right? And that's from just my posterior chain. What about on my back? Upper back, middle back, lower back. I do Pendlay rows. I do reverse rows, like inverted rows. I do upright rows because it's wide grip. That also works the upper back. Hyperextensions. Different deadlift variations. good mornings with a safety squat bar. And I've had other stuff I've used in the past. So do you guys see the problem with this mindset? Number one, you are going to limit the amount of muscle you gain. Exercise variation to some degree has been found to produce slightly more hypertrophy. Okay, that's reality. Not saying it's always massive. I mean, you can build a lot of size with a barbell squat. Different tools have different roles. There are tools that are better used for certain rep ranges. We might say, oh, the back squat's great, but how much volume can you realistically do? There's other exercises that can work all the same muscles with less fatigue, and you could do your really heavy work with a back squat and then use supplemental work to build the other muscles. Good mornings, hip belt squats, walking lunges. There are a lot of things that you can do much, much, much higher volume with that don't work as much total muscle, but you can do a lot more of it combined, recover from it, and grow. Less axial loading, less fatigue. And you have to think about overuse injuries. Weak point training. People say, oh, there's no such thing as weak point training. You just train the bench forever and get a massive bench press. Maybe if you're a genetic freak on gear. I promise you the rest of you aren't going to do it. Think just bench pressing is the only way to get your bench up? How many guys do you know with a 400 plus bench who only train the bench press to get there? They're very, 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 very rare. And they're genetic freaks every single time. You're not going to do it. And even then, the guys who do it have higher injury rates. Exercise variation is the best thing you can do to reduce injuries. One of the best things you can do, you prepare yourself for different loadings. Why do you think all of us who run conjugate max on dozens of different exercises? We max on all these different variations. Our 1 rep max is why? Reduces your chances of injuries. Not only overuse of the specific movement pattern, but because you're used to hitting really heavy weights through different various bar paths and strength curves, you tend to be more resilient to injury when something goes wrong. People who are used to lifting really, really heavy weights at a wide variety of angles get hurt less often when they get hit or knocked down on a playing field or push something or in an emergency situation, or something goes wrong on a max on a big barbell lift. Things that throw you into awkward situations that may overcome the ability of your connective tissue and body to handle it. You're more resilient to injuries. And I get it. People basically want something simple. That's why. It comes down to they don't want to have to put any thought into it, and they think that if they just do a bunch of work in the simplest manner possible without having to put any thought into it, that they'll get the best results possible. Well, in this case, that's just simply not the case. Okay, that's not the case. And it doesn't matter that you can find some guys who have done it. Number one, you're dealing with genetic outliers who, had they been smarter about it, they probably would have been even better with less injuries. Right? They're just that good naturally. That's just their potential is that high. They can get away with that. They could have been slightly better. Almost guarantee you that. But again, it's this thing of, oh, I want to be lazy. And that's what it comes down to. It is. It's about laziness. It's the idea that, okay, if I just train these 3 things, I can put all my efforts into that, and I don't have to worry about anything else. And I can just forget about all of it. In a way, that's a form of laziness, isn't it? Okay? Because realistically, if you really want to reach your true potential, you're going to have to put your effort into 15, 20 different movements. And you're going to have to put serious effort into them. Okay? You're going to put serious effort into them. I can assure you doing these 20 rep hip belt squats is not fun. I can assure you that's not fun. I can also assure you this same sort of loading parameter, there's no way you'd be able to do it with a barbell squat, would you? These same percentages in volume, you wouldn't be able to do it. But it ultimately comes down to laziness. It's a form of laziness, of mental laziness. I don't want to put any effort into figuring out what I need to do, so just give me something really simple, and if I just do that, I'll reach my max potential. All right, that doesn't work, and that doesn't work even for the novice, and here's why. No effective novice program only has 3 exercises either. Not one. They all have at least 5. They'll have at least 5. Minimum. Alright guys, well that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.